8:15 right here on Breakfast Television. We are back. Mental health, it's something we need to talk more about. And a new documentary is exploring the stigma of mental health in the Black community. Joined now by Tricia Henry, producer and director of the documentary One Shalt Not. And Sabrina Carrinton is in the documentary, and you've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So let's talk about the documentary, but first off, why is there a stigma in the Black community when it comes to mental health? I'll start with you, Tricia.
Because we're basically trained to not say anything and deal with what we have to deal with just on our own. Don't talk about it, just do what you have to do. That's basically it. And Sabrina can elaborate on that as well.
Yeah, we were more like raised, saw our parents basically when there were problems, everybody just prayed about it. We just talked about, if we knew somebody who was seeing a therapist, it was, well, why waste your money to give, to a therapist? Might as well just pray on it. But sometimes you need a landline as well,
Well, you mentioned prayer. I know in the Black community here in Montreal, the churches have been so important in the community. So has there been some movement in the churches to sort of help people deal with that and move beyond prayer when it comes to it, down to it? Or?
No, not really. You know what I mean? It's always, God will handle it and that's it. You just have to have faith, which is not a bad thing, but I believe that there's more than just faith. I think you should go and seek somebody.
So how difficult was it for you, as producing and directing this, to find the people to be in this documentary?
It was more difficult to find the men than it was the women, to be honest. It was very difficult because men are trained to be strong. Men are trained to not speak if you cry, you're weak in the men. And I was lucky to find 3 men, but it wasn't as difficult to find the women as it were for the men.
And Sabrina, for you, was it a difficult decision to decide to be part of this, to put your face on a project like this?
Not at all, because I saw it as soon as she approached me and asked me, I said yes, right away, because I think a lot of people need to know about this and to talk about it. Communication is extremely important, and we don't have that regarding mental illness in the Black community.
And how did you get help in your case?
I started questioning myself as to why I acted certain ways, and I thought, okay, the only way that I'm going to get that help is to try seeing a therapist, and that's what I did. I kept it to myself because I didn't really want to tell anybody, because afraid again of that stigma of my family or friends knowing that I was seeing a therapist.
How much of this has to do with trust? If you're going to get help, you probably want to trust the doctors, the people that you're seeing. Is that an issue?
That's very much so an issue, because we're taught to basically not trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't trust, so that's why we don't speak, because we don't trust anyone. So it's tough.
And how easy is it as a Black person in Montreal to get help? Perhaps let's say you want to see a therapist who's also Black. Maybe is that important, and is it easy to get that kind of help?
Well, for myself, it was easy to get that kind of help. I didn't have a problem with that at all, but it wouldn't have mattered if the person was another nationality at all. I just needed the help. I needed to speak to someone, and that was it for me.
On your end, how easy was it to find the stories that you're going to show in this documentary?
On my end, it wasn't hard. It wasn't very hard, because you know what? People want to talk about it. They want to talk about it. They just don't have an outlet, so I was that outlet.
Sabrina, did you find that? Did you find that you needed, this is something you needed? You really wanted to get your story out?
Needed like crazy, because then I found that the more we talked about it, the more people talked as well, which is a major key for this, and you realize it's going to work, because just from you talking, somebody else will talk, and they do talk.
And from both of you now, what message do you want this documentary to get out to your community and to Montrealers in general?
I just want it to get out that we have to talk about it. We cannot keep these things in. The longer you do, the worse it would be for you. For me, my mom got a stroke because of her stress, and that's what kind of triggered me to do this, because I feel like if she were to speak, she probably wouldn't be in the situation she was in today.
Sabrina?
Exactly. We not only want to help people in their 20s or 30s and 40s, but older seniors as well. It's not too late to talk, no matter how old you are.
Yeah.
And in the Black community, another issue that we probably don't talk about enough is suicide. Mental issues sometimes deal with suicide. Is that something that comes out of the documentary, people in dark places?
Oh, yes, they do. The men.
Yeah.
All of the men speak of that, and you'll find it very enlightening to know that you're not alone, and that's the message they say in there, that you're not alone. But yes, that's very, very, very high.
You find it plays into the, you're saying the men have to be strong?
Yes.
Is that why when things go bad, it leads to that?
It definitely does lead to that, and it's in the most quietest way to go.
What are some of the things that have been said to you in the making of this documentary, either from professionals or the people you're talking to, when they want to find a way to make things better?
Well, some of the things have been said were thank you. A lot of people are very appreciative of it. They think that I'm starting a great movement, and I would like to continue that as well. So it's always been positive, to be honest.
And Sabrina, now that this documentary is done, I'm sure have you seen the completed film?
No, not yet.
No.
So are you excited about seeing the finished project?
I'm very excited, but I'm more excited about the people that it's going to reach.
Yeah.
And I hope that it really encourages people to open up.
So, Tricia, the film is called One Shall Not.
Yes.
How do people see it if they want to see it? When is it going to be?
September 16th.
September 16th.
I don't
okay,
have a location yet, but
Okay.
we are going to screen it on that day.
Looking forward to seeing that in the fall.
you.
A really important issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you
You're
for
welcome
having
for
us.
joining us. And we'll get some more details out on our Facebook
Yes.
page a little later on today.